Good evening, Mayor Avery and distinguished members of the City Council.
Good evening.
This evening, I come before you regarding the downtown stage and courtyard sign installation. Before getting started, I just wanted to note that an additional slide was added and that each member of the council, yes, sir, just wanted to make sure you had that. The Frankie Arnold Stage and Courtyard, which was closed during the global pandemic, reopened in May 2021 for a series of concerts and special events. During the reopening, there was an assessment of needed updates that included ceiling repairs, painting, ongoing pressure washing, and landscaping. Additionally, concern regarding the continued weathering of the existing markers and plaques. Next slide, please. If you see in the picture, you'll see in the image that the weathering has caused many of the letterings to be smudged or moved away, and a side view of this signage shows that it's actually coming up off the wall. A directive was given to order replacement plaques with materials that would withstand ongoing weathering and conditions. American Sign Letters was identified as one of the sole providers within the Southeast that could, one, fulfill the order within a requested time or within the requested time, and secondly, would provide the most competitive pricing with the required quality requirements. Next slide, please. American Sign identified a copper alloy which would withstand weathering. The dimensions included a thickening of the plaques, a fourth of an inch thick, that would be applied using stud mounting. The stud mounting would ensure that regardless of weathering, that the plaques did not come up off of the wall. So the purpose of this project is to update the existing plaques on the front of the Frankie Arnold Stage and Courtyard that were damaged due to weathering with replacement plaques. And next slide, please. The second component of this was the ordering of lettering that spells out the name Frankie May Arnold Stage. Now this evening, we are prepared to move forward with just the plaque installation. I did want to update and provide a history. The funding sources regarding this plaque, the first plaque was, the replicas were a total of $6,327, and the stage lettering totaling $4,893. The installation group that was identified, their costs for installing the lettering is $800. The project has been already.
Could you hold, I'm sorry,
Yes, sir.
just yield 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, literally, I was literally writing right here. Would you please turn off cell phones and electronic devices to the silent position? Thank you so much.
So in accordance with the directive, the project has been paid for through the administrator's account, and that invoice was paid January 5th, 2022. So at this time, there is no additional funding required for this project. Only the one thing that we are looking for is the City Council's guidance. Number one, the approval of the installation of the replacement plaques, which are consistent with the existing plaques. And the second is the Mayor and City Council's guidance in terms of what you all, or your desires regarding the spelling out of the name Frankie May Arnold across the stage. And I am here to answer any questions.
Mr. City Administrator, if you would, did you have anything that you might want to add before?
Yeah, just a little additional context, members of the council. Our current administration, the protocol is anytime we have something of this nature, it needs to be presented to members of the council before the installation. It is our understanding to date that that had not yet occurred, that the lettering was purchased, but council had not had an opportunity to weigh in and provide some direction. And so hence the work session presentation that you see this evening, so that you'll have a chance to see what's being proposed. If the will of council is to go in another direction, we would work to repurpose those letters that you just saw on the screen for some other application. On the 23rd, which is our next meeting, we'll bring back to council an item for you to actually vote to approve what you'd like for us to do, be that the existing lettering for the stage, or if you'd like for us to develop some additional options for your consideration. So we wanted to bring this to you in a work session format, hear your questions and dialogue and direction, and that will help us to understand what to bring back for your consideration on the regular agenda for May 20th.
Does any member of council have a concern or recommendation or addition that you would, whether it be bring back options or as your opinion as it relates to what it looks like now, you're okay? We're trying, the staff just actually brought it here. I asked the staff to bring this item forward to get some form of direction. Does any member of council have a comment on that?
Yes, Mayor.
Actually, I'll start with Mayor Pro Tem, and then I'll come to Ms. Davis, then I'll go to Mr. Pat.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you so much, Ms. Abernathy,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
that presentation. I think it's a terrific idea that we are replacing the faded out sign, and an even a greater idea that former Councilwoman Arnold's name is spelled out on the stage. That really signifies who she is and what she has meant to this community. The addition that I would like to see is a plaque, and I don't know if rededication is the appropriate word, but a plaque that represents this body. Since this is an item that we are approving, it is befitting
Yes, ma'am.
that a plaque be acknowledged with the present governing body.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Davis, and then Mr. Pat.
Well, basically, I wanted to just concur with Mayor Pro Tem Portis Jones. I think her name over the stage is awesome. It just really says something, you know, in reference to the stage. Because sometimes I hear people don't even know what to call that complex. And with that name up front and front and center, I don't think we'll have that problem any longer. And I'm just in agreement with what you all have done. And if it's the will of the body, I will concur with Mayor Pro Tem Portis Jones in reference to a more current plaque of the body, the current body.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Powell, and then Mr. Whitmore.
Okay, a quick Frankie Arnold story. I'm standing in line at the bank. This is years and years and years ago, waiting to cash a check. And Frankie comes in through the front door, and she goes over and she talks to one of the folks behind the desk there. She comes up and she hugs me because I'm next in line to get my check cashed. And then she finishes hugging me, she turns and she goes right up to the window and cashes her check, and out the door she goes. And there's a guy standing behind me, and he says, "Well," I said, "that's Frankie Arnold, you better get used to it." So anything we can do, and I like this, I like the way it looks. I am supportive of moving ahead for Frankie May on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Whitmore.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I too am in agreement, especially with the plaque with the raised letters, because I thought that was what was going to happen before, but it hasn't. So hopefully with the raised letters and also the additional information that we will not have any more issues with fading and so on and so forth. As far as the lettering for Frankie May Arnold stage, I am in full agreement with that. I think it just goes along with the model that we have here in the city, situated to succeed. And now when we have people coming into our downtown area, if they didn't know about it, they will know the name of it. So I think that's a plus. And if I may indulge and ask staff to consider looking at the campus. And we have the administrative building. We had a mayor that's 20 plus years that served here in the city of Fairburn. We have a plaque on that building which may need to be replaced. But on top of that, if we can even consider, if this body would consider, even naming that building the Betty Hanna Administration Building, I think it would be a nice touch. I think is well deserved and is overdue. So if you can also look into that, I think it would be a nice touch from the city of Fairburn, especially since she's still here. She may not understand what's going on, but her family will.
Thank you. Sir.
Heath.
Like everyone else, I've lived here all my life, and Frankie Arnold has been like an icon to the city of Fairburn. I mean, everything. Like I worked at United Community Bank doing mortgages for them, and she would come in all the time. and she would just be gotten back from a meeting, and she would give me one of the city's pins to put on my lapel and everything. She's just an exceptional lady, and by all means, our citizens like that need to be, known. So, yeah, I'm in favor of this.
Yes, sir.
And my comments, Mr. Whitmore actually beat me to a conversation I was gonna bring to council later, and that was a decision as it relates to when actually, when I was here before, we actually called it the Betty Hannah Education Campus. And so I don't have a problem with it actually naming just the building in this case, so you would actually in this case, but that's, I guess, a conversation that we'll need to have with, because it's hard to change our campus. I think in this case, the building would be more than adequate for mayor, the longest serving mayor of this city. But as relates to icon, and as everyone stories of first real introduction to Ms. Arnold after a short while I got on council was she went to the Governor Barnes and walked right past the assistant. Can't go in there and say, "Oh, the governor see me." And of course, this lady's trying to stop. Comes out and says, "Hey, give me a hug." So, "Oh, don't worry about it. Come on in." And so I did it. I've seen that on more than. And I think, and since this is our last item, I'll give a funny story for Ms. Frank Arnold. For me, the Coretta Scott King's funeral, Ms. Arnold called me at home and said, "Baby, I need you to take me down to the funeral." And I said, "Ms. Arnold, that's 50,000 folk from all 50 states trying to get in that funeral." And she said, "Just get me downtown." And so we just wrote. She said, "I just want to be nearby, so I, trying to be a gentleman. I let her off at the front door." And of course, I listened to the funeral in the car, the radio, while she said it such.
Just get me down there.
And so I said, okay. So that was just awesome experience with her.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now that the conversation regarding the educational complex has been interjected into this conversation, I want to say that I believe it was 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago it was, this body, or the members at that time, had a in-depth discussion regarding the educational complex and whether it was the intent to rename just the administration building or to rename the entire complex. And so we took a vote on it, and that it was voted down. However, I am more than elated to know that this being reconsidered, and I would love for us to have the conversation about renaming the entire campus. It is because of Betty Hannah that campus is there. So she is well deserving of it, not just the administration building. So thank you for bringing it up, Councilman Whitmore, and thank you, Mayor Avery, for echoing that discussion. And then I just want to put a pin in it. So thank you very much.
Okay. So just listening to the general counsel of the conversation, it appears that we just basically, in this case, bringing back the item just for a vote, because now it looks like you've got a majority. And again, I'm not trying to count votes, but I've been in business long enough, it looks like you've got. And so,
just for a vote for council at the next meeting. At that time, Mayor Pro Tem, we will also bring back proposals for the plaque that you requested for the current council. So that will be a part of that agenda item as well. We will work with the city attorney's office. I believe there may be a naming policy for the city. So we'll do some due diligence to figure out what that is and then bring that option back to council as it relates to the GMC campus, so that you can express your will for that as well. And we'll also check on the plaque on the current admin building to see if it needs to be refreshed. It sounds like it likely may need the same type of application that we've shown you tonight. So we'll work with Ms. Abernathy to make sure we address that as well.
and just to concur with what Ms. Councilwoman Jones said, that was the intent, to name that campus. I made that no secret my first year as mayor. That campus is here because of Betty Hannah's administration, not me. As much as I would love to take credit for it, that was her doing and her vision. And so, I thank you, Ms. Jones. I think it would be just the right thing to do, if all possible, to name that campus out there.
We heard council's direction, and we'll follow that accordingly.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your time.
Thank you.
Well, members of council, that's the only item we have on the workshop. We can actually, in this case, adjourn, Mr. City Administrator, unless you had something else you need to add.
No, sir, Mayor.
Okay, and we'll come back in session at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, he's gonna
Well,
do
that's
it.
what I said.